हरेस्तच्चिन्तयायु यथा यथा भगवतो भक्त्या परमया विदा निरपाश्चैद्यजाय सत्मयम् हरिस्तच्चिन्तयायु। यथा यथा भगवतो माताजीस यथा यथा भगवतो भक्त्या परमया विना नृपाश्चैदया दयासात्म्याम् हरिष्ठचिन्तया यथा यथा just as Bhagavata of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhaktya by devotional service, Paramaya Supreme, Abhida incessantly thinking of such activities, Nripa kings, Chaidadaya, Shishupal, Dantravakra and others, Satmayam, the same form, Hare of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tachintaya, by constantly thinking of Him, Yayu, return home, back to Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, by devotional service, pure devotees who incessantly think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead receive bodies similar to His. This is known as Sarupya Mukti. Although Shishupal, Dantavakra, and other kings thought of Krishna as an enemy, they also achieved the same result. Purport. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, in connection with Lord Chaitanya's instruction to Sanatana Goswami, it is explained that a devotee should externally execute his routine devotional service in a regular way, but should always inwardly think of the particular mellow in which he is attracted to the service of the Lord. This constant thought of the Lord makes the devotee eligible to return home, back to God. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Tyatva Deham Sunar Janmam Naitimam Eti. After giving up his body, a devotee does not again receive a material body, but goes back home, back to Godhead, and receives a spiritual body resembling those of Lord's eternal associates, whose activities he followed. However, the devotee likes to serve the Lord. He may constantly think of Lord's associate, the Lord, the coward boys, the gopis, the Lord's father and mother, his servants, and the trees, land, animals, plants, and water in the Lord's abode. Because of constantly thinking of these features, one acquires a transcendental position. Kings like Shishupal, Dantavakra, Kamsa, Poundraka, Narakasura, and Salva were all similarly delivered. This is confirmed by Madhvacharya. Pound Poundrake Narake Chaiva Salve comes say Rukmini Avistas tu Harer Bhaktas Tad Bhaktya Harim Apire. Poundraka, Narkasura, Salva, and Kamsa were all inimical towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because of all this king constantly thought of him, they achieved the same liberation. Sarupya Mukti. The Jnana Bhakta, the devotee who follows the path of Jnana, also attains the same destination. If even the enemies of the Lord achieve salvation by constantly thinking about the Lord, what is to be said of pure devotees who always uh, engage in the Lord's service and who think of nothing but the Lord in every activity? Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees, guests, visitors who came to Govardhaniko village for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. This class is happening at the most serene and beautiful place, the holy abode of Lord Giriraj. And we have Raghunath Das Goswami here, Srila Janma Devi, and on the banks of Sri Radha Kund, Sham Kund, as Rupa Goswami says, this is the topmost of all holy places for in the entire world. So today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, chapter number 10, text number 40. So in the last few chapters, we saw that how Hiranyakashipu performed austerities and then he started terrorizing the world, and then Prahlad was born, and seeing the devotion of Prahlad Maharaj, his father became very upset. He wanted to kill him, and then finally he couldn't kill him, and then he challenges him that have you the Lord whom you worship, is he in this pillar? And then Lord Nrsimhadev appears and he kills him, and then whole episode where Prahlad Maharaj is trying to pacify him by the wonderful prayers. And then now this chapter is a chapter entitled as Prahlad, the best among the exalted devotees. So as you know that this particular canto, the canto 7 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, began with the question of Yudhishthir Maharaj, that how come Shishupal, who was constantly, envious of the Lord, who is always speaking bad, offending the Lord, how come when the Lord, you know, killed him, he got the same Sayujya Mukti or the Sarup, the Mukti which has been described here. How come that has happened? And to answer to that question, this whole episode of the Srimad Bhagavatam came. And incidentally, today the same section has come again about Sushupal and Dantavakra. But the most amazing part of this verse or this chapter, that is chapter 10, which I thought was very striking for me, is that Prahlad Maharaj, Guru, that is Srila Narad Muni, he is glorifying his disciple. Prahlad Maharaj is such a great devotee that seeing the character, seeing the unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion, his Guru Maharaj is so inspired that he is glorifying him in front of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So that is the great qualification of a great devotee, right? Many times, as a disciple, we try to do something to impress the spiritual master. And sometimes the spiritual master is impressed. He pats you on the shoulder, and we feel happy. Sometimes he smiles, sometimes he embraces. So these are some of the uh, special interactions which are there in the life of a guru and a disciple, right? But much more is a situation where the spiritual master is actually proud of his disciple. He is actually proud of his disciple. And that is what we are talking about, where Srila Narad Muni is so much proud of his great disciple Srila Prahlad Maharaj, and he's glorifying him. I remember just few days back we had His Holiness Indradumna Swami Maharaj here, and His Holiness Indradumna Swami Maharaj was sharing once this past time. I remember of Guru, spiritual master, patting a disciple on his shoulder. So one past time which came that he was traveling with Srila Prabhupada, and while traveling the flight, he tried to help Srila Prabhupada, and he was assisted, assisting him in different ways. And finally they landed, uh, and then they were coming. And as you know, whenever Srila Prabhupada comes to any place, hundreds of devotees come, they do kirtan, they welcome Srila Prabhupada. And His Holiness Indradumna Maharaj was already very busy with so many other things. He hadn't taken prasadam. And then as soon as he landed, the devotees, they gave him a big trunk or a big bag to carry. And they said that Prabhupada is going in the car before, you make sure all the luggage comes and you come alone with the luggage. So he had to wait for a few, maybe an hour or something. And all the devotees have gone, and just imagine spiritual master coming. There's welcome, there's kirtan, and of course there is feast prasadam. And Prabhu Indradumna Maharaj that time, he was extremely hungry, and such huge bag, nobody there to help him. Somehow he was putting alone the bag, put in the car, and he took the car. He was walking around, and finally he reached the temple. But in the whole journey, he was thinking, will there be prasadam left for me? Right? How many of you had any experience like this? Especially on the days where there was feast, right? Whenever there's a feast made, there's always a fear. The special items, will it be there for me? Right? And then somehow he reached the temple. He was dragging the bag. It was extremely heavy. And the first scene which came to his eyes was devotees just finished the prasadam. The plates were completely, licked up. And he was like, he just put the bag, he ran to the counter, and the prasadam was over. And he was like, oh my God, I am doing so much struggle, you know, from morning, early in the morning, I'm doing so much service. I'm dragging this huge bag. Nobody's helping me, you know. And then he comes to know that there's no prasad left. What was the situation? And then somehow he thought, okay, let me finish the task given. Let me take this big bag and put it in Srila Prabhupada's room. So he lifted it and he was dragging it. And sometimes, the item which he was carrying was so heavy that he actually did not knock Prabhupada's room. He actually, barged in Prabhupada's room. And Prabhupada was there doing something and he saw the big thing. Prabhupada didn't say something and he somehow kept the bag there. And he took a big sigh of relief. And then he came to know that Srila Prabhupada is just behind. And seeing Srila Prabhupada, he just offered his Dandavat pranams. And when he saw Prabhupada, he offered his Dandavat pranams. Immediately Srila Prabhupada came to him, he patted something, spoke to him something, and he left outside the room. And because he was so much tired or it was so heavy, he just saw the pat, but he could not hear what Srila Prabhupada said. But I think it was Srila Prabhupada's servant that time, maybe Nanda Kumar Prabhu or somebody else. He said, "What? You're so fortunate. You're so fortunate." And then he said, "I didn't hear. What did Srila Prabhupada said?" He said, Prabhupada said that so much struggle in this material world. But when I take you back home, back to Godhead, there won't be any struggle. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we see here that is how we sincerely try to serve spiritual master and then spiritual master reciprocates. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj used to say, do not try to see Krishna, but try to serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna wants to see you. So that is what we have always seen, that we sincerely try to serve and try to please the authority. I think yesterday Gauranga Prabhu was speaking the teachings from the life of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And he shared a beautiful point. He was sharing that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri and Raghunath Das Goswami was there in Jagannath Puri. And 16 years, he hardly got his association. As soon as he left everything, he had so much wealth, he came running, he gave everything. The Chaitanya Charitamrita described that he had wealth of Indra. He left all that and he came to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just met him, embraced him, and he said, "From today, you will be under Swarup Damodar Goswami." And 16 years, he's just trying to serve and assist. And seeing his sincere devotion, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met him and then he instructed him the famous verse, Gramya Katha na Shunibe, Gramya Vartan na Koribe. So that was very amazing that, we sincerely try to serve and then the spiritual master blesses us here. Again, I'm reminded of one amazing pastime. In the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there's a great devotees and one of the very inspirational personality is Sri Dasharathi, which is the disciple or the personal servant of Srila Ramanujacharya. So we all know that Dasharathi was a great servant, but at the same time, he was a great scholar. He always used to study the Shastras. And once while he was studying the Bhagavad Gita, he read the verse Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vrajaha. So while he was reciting this verse, while he was reading this verse, he had few realization, but he had some doubt, and he wanted to know some more about the meaning of Sharanagati. So it was at this time, he approached his spiritual master, Srila Ramanujacharya, and he said that I want to know more about this verse. I want to know more about Sharanagati. So Srila Ramanujacharya said that I will explain when the time comes. And then After few days, it was the spiritual master of Srila Ramanujacharya, Mahapurna, his daughter, Atulai. She was just married and she went to her, in-laws place. And there, the mother-in-law, you know, she was telling that, you should go and get water from the well. And the well was almost 2 miles away. And she had so much work to do, and then she was afraid. And she said that I can't do it. And the mother-in-law became very heavy, and she said that you came here to serve, and if you can't do this, go back to your house or get a servant. So then she started crying. She went to Mahapurna, and Mahapurna said, let's go to Shripad Ramanujacharya. And when Ramanujacharya heard this, he said, don't worry, you need a servant? Dasharati will come. He will come. And without asking any questions, the great scholar, just imagine a person who's serving his spiritual master. Just he comes to him and he tells them, Prabhu, हमारे घर पे maid नहीं आ रही. Maharaj, there is no maid at our house. And Maharaj looks at him, he said, don't worry, he will come. Just imagine. And here, Dasharati, without any questions, he said, yes, Guru Maharaj. And he was not only getting the water, he was washing utensils, he was cooking, he was teaching the children, he was doing so many things. And everybody was happy. Everybody. That was his amazing devotion. Because he was thinking that serving my Guru was the same instruction to please him, and now following his instruction to please somebody else is the same. And in that way, he was trying to serve. And that completely transformed all of them. And then one fine day, there was a debate of one personality who came, and then he was speaking something about impersonalism and being a great scholar, and especially Dasharati, the disciple of Srila Ramanujacharya. He immediately confronted him in a very humble way. He said that no, what you're saying is not right. Everybody is not one. There's a difference between Krishna and a living entities. We are one in quality but not in quantity. And then seeing the vast knowledge and devotion and the scholarship, everybody said that who is he? And somebody said he's just a servant who's assisting in Atulai's house. Everybody couldn't understand. And somebody said, oh, he's none other than Dasharati, the disciple of Sripad Ramanujacharya. And hearing the glories of his disciple, Sripad Ramanujacharya came, and he was so happy to hear that, he was so proud to hear his amazing devotion. And then he said, come, now I'll tell you the deep meaning of Sharanagati. Some devotee also share that Ramanujacharya said that you already know Sharanagati, so now you have already answered your question. So in this way, we see that how a spiritual master becomes proud by seeing how his disciple is advancing. We also see here Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri in the Tota Gopinath temple used to recite Dhruva Charitra and Prahlad Maharaj Charitra thousands and thousands of times. He used to relish this pastime so much that tears used to come from his eyes. The whole Bhagavatam used to be drenched with the tears of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is the glory of Srila Prahlad Maharaj. And in this particular section, Srila Yudhishthir Maharaj has been told by Narad Muni that Prahlad, the best among the exalted devotees, he's sharing that how Prahlad Maharaj, he was the only chosen one. He was the only one who could pacify the Lord, but still he was so humble. He's praying that, I am so insignificant. And when the Lord offered him benedictions, he said, I don't want this. I am not a businessman. I just want your prema bhakti. I don't even want mukti. I just want to hear your glories. I just want to serve you. So that is the greatness of the Lord and his devotees. So herein we see the translation says, by devotional service, pure devotee who insistently think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead receive the body similar to his. This is known as Swarupa Mukti. Although Shishupal, Dantavakra, and other kings thought of Krishna as an enemy, they also achieved the same result. So herein in this section we are discussing that how important is to remember Krishna, to do that Krishna Smaranam, to constantly think of Krishna. In the eighth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajat ante kalevaram. Whatever we remember at the time of death, that becomes our next life. So similarly, constant remembrance of Krishna is very important. That is Krishna Smaranam. One of the brahmachari of Radha Gopinath temple, he was in the guest department. Many years ago, uh, His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj came to Chopati temple. So this devotee was serving Maharaj. He was, helping him. He offered him dinner, some milk, and then while he was about to take rest, he put the mosquito net and everything, and he was about to leave. He said, Maharaj, uh, with your permission, can I leave? And then Sachinandan Maharaj, in his, you know, innocent way, he said, wait. Where are you going? I cannot leave you without giving Krishna. Wait, I will speak something about Krishna. And then he heard some Krishna's pastime for 5 minutes. And then he said, okay, Maharaj, thank you for the pastime. I am leaving. He said, wait. Now I gave you Krishna. Now you give me Krishna. Please speak something about Krishna. So then the brahmachari, the devotee, was very much, you know, he was feeling that how can I speak? He said, no, it's an instruction, please. And then he shared something, and then Maharaj said, now you can go. Good night. Sweet Krishna dreams. So this is the whole episode of trying to always remembering Krishna Smarana. So we see that in a family, a parents, a mother and father, they have children. They may have few children. One is very obedient, other is very naughty, somebody is rebellious. But in all the case, the parents give equal attention, equal love, equal facility to everybody. Similarly, Krishna is our eternal father. The Gita says he's seed giving father. He says, Aham bija pradapita. So he's the eternal father and he's also not partial. He gives equal opportunity to everybody. But as described in the Bhagavad Gita, ye yatha mam prapadyante, that I reciprocate with my devotees as the way they reciprocate to me, right? Ye yatha mam prapadyante. So we see that how Krishna is always merciful to everybody, whether he's a devotee, whether he's not a devotee, whether he's a believer of God, whether he's atheist, but he will give everything for that person, right? But then it's on us how we reciprocate with the Lord. It was one time Srila Prabhupada was on a morning walk, and as you see here, we have beautiful Vrindavan forest here, and we have Prem Sarovar. And in Prem Sarovar, we have ducks and swans. So Srila Prabhupada was walking, and on the way, he saw a water body where there was a duck and few ducks. And then sometimes in the morning, somebody was feeding the duck. So Srila Prabhupada had something, so he wanted also to feed. So somebody gave Prabhupada, please, you can offer this. So Prabhupada started throwing. So there were few ducks, somebody was catching, somebody was eating this. And there were few ducks, they were quacking so much. So Prabhupada asked the devotees that, do you know why I am giving this duck more than this, all of them? Prabhupada said, because he is the most desperate one. He said, similarly, Krishna gives everybody whatever is there, but he will give special things to his devotees because they are more desperate and they are more trying to reciprocate with him. So we see Krishna is the Lord of the universe, he's Lord Jagannath, he's Janardhan, he's feeding everybody, he's giving everything to others, but there are people who still criticize him. There are people who still blaspheme him. There are people who still say, does God exist? Right? But Krishna is doing his job. I always tell this story that once there was this Grahastha. In the Vedic times, the Grahastha, before taking a meal, you know, he goes out of his house and he chants loudly, anybody hungry? Anybody hungry? Anybody hungry? And then whoever comes, he's like Atithi, he's like sent by God, or he's non different than God. As they say, Atithi Devo Bhava. So then anybody comes, say, I am hungry. Then he say, oh, please come, Atithi Devo. Come, we'll. Then he's to serve prasadam. And then once he's completely satisfied, and then he goes back, and then he will have his lunch or dinner, whatever. So that is like the Grahastha Dharma. So what he was doing is he went outside and he chanted, anybody hungry? And there was one person who came, said, yes, I'm hungry. And then he said, please, please come. And he offered him nice feast, so many sabjis, rice, dal, everything. And he was very happy. And this Grahastha devotee was feeling, I'm so fortunate that Krishna has sent you. God is so kind. And suddenly, after eating the whole feast, he was like completely satisfied. He said, wait, wait, wait. I came to your house. Why are you thanking Krishna? I don't believe in Krishna. I am atheist. By the way, the lunch was nice. I am going. And he went. But this Grahastha became so unhappy that, uh, I was thinking a Vaishnava or Atithi means maybe somebody will come. But today I fed an atheist. And rather than being grateful, he was actually, blaspheming or offending Krishna. So he became very bad. He became very sad. And he actually, put his hand on his head and started crying that Krishna, I made a big mistake. Today I fed a atheist. Then it is said that Krishna came and, put his hand on his shoulder. He said, don't worry. Every day I feed so many atheists. No problem. So that is Krishna. He's always giving, whether somebody loves him, whether somebody hates him. And even in the case of Shishupal, we see every day he was just cursing him, blaspheming him. But his quota was 100, not going beyond. Krishna had told, beyond 100, then I will take any action. But below that, okay. And one fine day, he lost his count. And then immediately Krishna took his Sudarshan Chakra and he just cut off his head. And then everybody saw that divine soul, the light just entered the soul of the Supreme Lord and he got that special mukti. So herein in this verse, we see that devotees who are constantly thinking of him, they get the bodies like him, like it is mentioned here as Swarupa Mukti. Can you imagine demons who are killing and doing all nonsense activities, blaspheming, they also get the same benediction. Just imagine. Just imagine in your initial day of Krishna consciousness, after your 6 session course, the devotee is telling you, rather than chanting Hare Krishna, he's telling you, do all these activities, whatever you want to do. Don't follow any regulative principles. Just blaspheme God, and you will achieve the same result, right? But just see how much the Lord is merciful. He's giving the same result to his devotees. Why? Because in, he's seeing that they are remembering me, right? So that has been explained here. But of course, the definition of pure devotional service as uh, Srila Rupa Goswami has defined as it is anyabhilashitam shunyam jnana karma dhyanabritam anukulena. So we here are following the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, and we here try to serve Krishna or remember Krishna in a favorable manner, not in a negative manner or inimical manner. And that's where it is described here. And what will happen when we do that? What will happen when we try to serve Krishna in that loving service attitude, in that anukulena Krishna, anushilanam? What will happen? The Lord becomes the subservient to his devotees. The Lord becomes the servant of his devotees. In the in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the pastime of Bali Maharaj. Now, externally, somebody might say Bali Maharaj, he gave him the boon, but the Lord tricked him. But what happened after that? He was ready to become the Dwarapal, the doorkeeper for his devotees. That is the power of bhakti. The Lord is becomes subservient to his devotees. Right? The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that the power of bhakti is so magnanimous that Krishna becomes purchased by the love of his devotees. Krishna becomes purchased by his love. In the Chaitanya Charitamrit, in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, we hear the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He used to glorify his devotees as if he had thousands of mouths. He spoke that I am Vasudev Datta's property. He can sell me anywhere. So that is the reason why we should practice pure devotional service. Recently in the drama festival, they performed the pastime of Sridhar Kulavech. Nobody knew who Sridhar Kulavech was. Nobody knew. And Nimai Pandit used to come hours and hours, used to bargain. Why are you charging so much? And one fine day, he wanted to show him his love. He went at his house after the Chand Kazi event happened. He went to his house with devotees and he was drinking water from that pot. That was the only asset he had. The roof was leaking, nothing he had. The only pot which he was using for bathing, drinking, washing. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took that and he drank that water. And Sridhar Kullavechi said that, my dear Lord, what are you doing? This is not for you. This is contaminated. And the Lord says, this is the greatest wealth. I told you that you are doing this business and you are accumulating so much wealth. And one day I will tell the whole world that you have so much wealth. And today I have witnessed the wealth of pure devotion, the wealth of God Prem. right? So we see even in Mahabharat, we see that Arjuna and Duryodhana, they came to Krishna. One wanted his Sena, other wanted him, right? And we see Arjuna didn't wanted anything from him. He just wanted Krishna's friendship. He just wanted Krishna at his side. And we know what happened. And in reciprocation, Krishna became his chariot driver. Krishna became his chariot driver. And in the Vedic times, we know the chariot driver, you know, if you want to go to left, they used to kick on his left shoulder. If you want to go on the right side, kicking on the right side. Krishna is ready to become anything for his disciple, for his devotee. So that is the glory of Krishna. So some of the uh, key points which I wanted to share was the first one is constant remembrance, purifies us. You keep on constantly remembering Krishna, you purify. Constantly hearing about Krishna, right? The Bhagavatam shares this beautiful verse, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. When we constantly hear and chant Krishna's glory, what happens is all our impurities go and we remember Krishna. Another verse in the Bhagavatam says, Yasyaham Vaishruyamanayam Krishne Paramapurse Bhaktir Utpatyate Pumsam Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Remembrance of Lord destroys all inauspiciousness like Shoka, Moha, Bhaya, everything. And then we see the other point which has been described or which comes here is even the demons or the enemies also attain liberation. Then, herein in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, what to speak of a devotee, a pure devotee who engages in Lord's devotional service, what will he achieve? Right? It's like, somebody if gives 1 rupee, he gets so much. What to speak of if he gives 1 million? Hmm? So that is the amazing aspect of bhakti. The third point which I wanted to share was this devotees who practice Krishna consciousness in pure love and pure devotion service, they achieve much more than just mukti. That's why in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear that every time when the Lord is ready to give mukti, the devotees are not interested. Devotees said, no, no, I don't want mukti. Right? Because they want something more. They want to hear and chant his pastimes. They want his association. They want to serve in the mode of servant of the servant of the servant. Even Srila Prahlad Maharaj here, we see he's given liberation, but he's saying, no, no, I don't want liberation. Right? So that is the greatest glory of the Lord and his devotees. So we see here the Krishna consciousness has different levels. So if somebody has a first step is consciousness, the consciousness whether you have favorable consciousness or unfavorable consciousness. So in the case of Shishupal, we saw he had hatred, but still he got Sayujya Mukti or Swarupya Mukti. Right? Kamsa had fear, but still he got liberation. But Prahlad Maharaj had great love, great attachment, and unmotivated, uninterrupted service. What happened? He got eternal service. He always is glorified. Today, Prahlad Maharaj is glorified more than Lord Narsingadev many times because it was for him the Lord appeared. So that's more great than anything else. So we see that Krishna consciousness is when we sincerely try to serve Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. Right? Herein we see the example of Prahlad Maharaj, who is showing by his example that he is not interested in anything of this world. Another aspect we hear is of Gajendra and Hiranyakashipu. Now, Gajendra was an elephant, and he started praying to the Lord, and the Lord appeared and protected him. At the same time, Hiranyakashipu performed so many austerities, but at the same time, what happened? He got what he want, but at the end, what happened? Narsimhadev came and killed him, and he got liberation. So the point which I wanted to share is that bhakti is so extraordinary that it attracts everybody. In the Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami himself tells him, Atma Ramasya Munayo. He's telling that, how this bhakti is so extraordinary that even it attracted me. As all of us know that Vyasadeva wanted Shukadeva Goswami because he was not coming out of his mother's womb. And Vyasadeva tells him that, no, 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 please come. Nothing will happen. He said, no, no, Maya is extremely powerful. And then somehow, after 16 years, he comes out and he's completely naked. He just goes in the forest that, no, no, I will not come. Right. And then it is Vyasadeva who tells some of his students that you go and recite these two verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right. One is the famous verse, Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam Jigam Saya Paye Apiya Sadhvi Lebhe Gatim Dhatrim Uchito Tatodhyam Kamva Dayalum Sharanam Brajema. When he heard this verse, and was another verse from the 10th canto, you know, what was that verse? Barha Pitam Bar Natavara Vapu Karanayor Karnikaram. Seeing the beauty of Krishna and seeing the causeless mercy of Krishna, that attracted him. He was saying that Kamva Dayalum, who is that one who is more merciful than my the Lord Krishna. So we today discussed this beautiful episode of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we saw that even demons who are so inimical, envious, uh, they are remembering Krishna in an unfavorable way, but still they get mukti. What to speak of devotees who can sincerely, with unmotivated, uninterrupted love, how much more they will receive from the Lord. And we share different examples about that. So it's almost 9 now, so I'll conclude here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maybe any questions anybody has?
Thank you very much for a very, very good class. Um, so it's easy when devotees have their Guru Maharaj to pat them on their shoulder, on their head, and recognize service well done. But it may not be so easy if the Guru Maharaj of a devotee is no longer with them to know when is the spiritual master pleased with them. Could you elaborate a little bit? How can a devotee know with any certainty that their guru is actually pleased with the, their their service?
Prabhuji, you are a very senior devotee and you're trying to ask me these questions. Uh, Thank you very much. I will humbly try to speak. Maybe others can add and you can also add. Yes, it's a difficult time where the spiritual master is not present. But as we hear, there are two things, one is the Vapu and one is the Vani. So, hearing the instructions and trying to follow the instructions, I think, which we have said and heard also, that when we sincerely try to follow the instructions, the spiritual master within our heart, he inspires us and he kind of gives us and that that connection, that connection gives that inspiration so that we feel that okay, what I am doing. So in Srila Prabhupada's um, example also, he uh, he was quite sick, and then he was supposed to go to India, and when he was trying to travel, all the devotees who were early new devotees, they came to Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, you're not well, and you're going to India, and we never know that you will come back also. So then Prabhupada said that, more merciful than the father is the grandfather. So if I am not there, my spiritual master will definitely be more merciful and he'll take care of you. At the same time, he said, one more thing. He said that you chant Hare Krishna here, and I will chant Hare Krishna there. We'll be eternally connected. So I feel the whole Guru Parampara is there. And since we are connected with the Guru Parampara, and if we are trying to please the Guru through his representatives, because of course the spiritual master will definitely have many of his senior disciples, and when we try to sincerely assist them, we know for sure that the spiritual master will be pleased. So I feel this is, we sincerely try to follow his instruction, at the same time try to follow the senior disciples of the Guru, and in this way maybe we know that Srila Prabhupada or the Guru Parampara is pleased.
Very good answer. Yes, ultimately it comes through the other serious, sincere devotees of the guru to also pat you on the head or pat you on the shoulder and say, yes, this is correct. So you can say, yes, the guru came to me in my heart and I feel good, but that could be sentimental, but it has to be practical. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you for a wonderful class. Um, we understand in the Shastra that chanting Hare Krishna, the name of Krishna is not different than Krishna. So you're chanting, you're in Krishna's presence. It also says, Nihabi Krama Nostasti, whatever you remember at the time of death, you will attain. So a good friend of mine, young man, he asked me, so every day we're trying to chant the best we can, but for most of us, the mind is far, far away, and we're trying to struggle to bring our mind back, listening to Krishna's name, absorbing. But so many times we're chanting, but our mind is far away. So this young man, he asked me, so you're chanting, your mind is far away, and all of a sudden you get struck and you die. So, but it says whatever you remember. So his mind is far away thinking about work. So what will be the result? He was wondering.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Madhvanand Prabhu. You're such a senior devotee, staying so many years in Vrindavan. Yeah, many times the question comes that, devotees try to chant their rounds, they're struggling. Especially in my case, many times we are not at all present. Sometimes we just complete the rounds. But yeah, when we sincerely try to chant the holy name, Krishna takes the note. The most important part of bhakti is we try to do our best, and the other part is leave the rest. The difference between the process of bhakti and the other process is, other process everything is dependent on yourself. If you do it perfectly, you'll achieve the result, otherwise difficult. But the process of bhakti is such that we just have to show our sincerity and Krishna will do the needful. And that's why one of the most amazing word which I have learnt in ISKCON is causeless mercy. Causeless means there is no cause. So I humbly feel that if we sincerely try, it is then Krishna's job. And then we have seen in ISKCON world as well that there are devotees who did so much service for Srila Prabhupada. It was because of their sincere devotion to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna that at the time of that, Krishna came and made them remember. So I humbly feel, and that's what we have heard from all the senior devotees, that yes, if we sincerely try, it is Krishna's job to remember, make sure you remember. I think the same question was asked to some senior devotees and some Maharajas. They said that we just have to do our job, and it is up to Krishna whether he wants us to remember him or not. So that is what I want to tell you. So I think it's almost 9:10 and we're late. So I'll end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. गिरिराज महाराज की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।